shattered promises. London, 1720, Edward Fairchild was a young trader, learning the solid rules of business from his wise mentor. Mr. Harrington, they dealt in tangible goods wool, tea and spices reliable and true. Edward prized honesty and steady profit above all else. But a new type of fortune was sweeping the city, the South Sea Company. Their promises were huge profits beyond imagination, funded by trade with distant, exotic lands. The newspapers were full of soaring stock prices, and the streets buzzed with feverish excitement. Edward felt a strong pull toward this glittering opportunity. "Be cautious," Edward warned Mr. Harrington, tapping a skeptical finger on a South Sea advertisement. "These profits are built on air, not honest goods. It is speculation, my boy, not trade, and it will end in tears." Edward respected his mentor, but the thought of missing such wealth gnawed at him. Edward soon ran into his old friend, Silas Thorne, whose coat now shimmered with expensive silk. Silas bragged about his quick wealth, scoffing at Edward's slow, steady pace. "Loyalty to old rules won't pay the bills, Ned. Get in now, before the price triples again," Silas urged, flashing a handful of notes. Against his better judgment, Edward invested a small sum, just to test the waters. The rush of seeing the number rise instantly was intoxicating, a truly powerful feeling. But the whispers surrounding the company grew darker. Rumors of secret government deals and managers selling their own shares quietly. As the market soared, Silas grew cold and calculating. Edward witnessed Silas betray a small, trusted agreement with a fellow merchant just to seize a tiny better deal. "It's just business, Ned," Silas said dismissively. Edward felt a chill, realizing how easily greed corrodes loyalty. One evening, Edward overheard a terrified clerk confessing to a bartender the company's debts were vast. The assets were imaginary. The entire financial foundation was crumbling. Edward's stomach dropped. This wasn't just speculation. It was a vast disaster waiting to happen. He knew he had to warn Silas immediately. Edward rushed to find Silas, explaining the dire rumors. "It's a fraud, Silas. We must sell now." Silas laughed, swirling champagne in his glass. "You let Harrington fill your head with gloom, Ned. The stock always dips before it soars higher." Silas refused to listen, calling Edward a fool driven by cowardice. The lure of untold wealth had blinded him entirely. The very next morning, the market crashed. The infamous South Sea bubble burst. Change Alley exploded in panic. Thousands of fortunes evaporated overnight. Edward lost his small investment, but his earlier caution saved him from total ruin. Silas, however, was nowhere to be seen, lost amid the desperate crowds and shattered expectations. Later, amid the silence of the financial ruins, Edward understood the bitter truth. Greed had driven men mad, and speculation had become a deadly, reckless game. Loyalty and honesty were the true currencies. Edward returned to Mr. Harrington's side, knowing that trust and good character, once shattered, were the biggest losses of all. The end.